As hard as we try and deny it, as blind as we try and make ourselves to believe that things are still great, you cannot deny that we stand at a precipice. Our nation is facing unprecedented challenges, both from within and from abroad. The streets of our cities are filled with unrest. The very fabric of society seems to be unraveling. Our enemies smell weakness, our allies question our resolve, and our own streets are plagued by chaos. The world watches as we grapple with internal strife, and they wonder, can America still lead? Now, the chaos in our streets is not just a symptom of our problems. It's a signal to the world that we are vulnerable. It's a call to action for every American to stand up and demand better. Now more than ever, we need a leader who is strong, decisive, and possesses the mental acuity to navigate the treacherous waters we have ahead. We need someone who can make tough decisions and stand firm in the face of adversity. We need a leader who can stare down our adversaries, not squint at them through a fog of confusion. Someone who can articulate a clear vision for the future and rally the nation behind it. Now, the question is, who embodies these qualities? Who is the real deal for America? The contrast today could not be starker. We are at a crossroads, and the choice we will make will determine the direction of our nation for years to come. On one hand, we have Joe Biden, a man seemingly lost in the twilight of his cognitive abilities, stumbling through speeches, forgetting names, and offering platitudes in the face of real crisis. Now, his presidency has definitely been marked by indecision, weakness, and this fundamental misunderstanding of the real threats facing our nation. Now, his administration has struggled to address the pressing issues of our time. From economic instability to international threats, the American people deserve better than a leader who is out of touch and out of his depth. On the other hand, we have Donald Trump, a man who needs no introduction. Trump, he is definitely a force of nature, this disruptor who speaks his mind, challenges the status quo, and refuses to back down from a fight, as we can see daily in the news. He has shown time and time again that he is willing to take on the establishment and fight for the American people. He's not afraid to challenge our adversaries, both foreign and domestic. He has this clear vision for America and a determination to see it through. His leadership style is bold and unapologetic, and he has proven that he can deliver results. Now, the choice before us today is clear. Do we continue down the path of decline and decay with a leader who is clearly out of his depth, or do we choose strength, decisiveness, and the proven track record of success? The future of our nation hangs in the balance and the decision. It is ours to make. Now, we must ask ourselves what kind of America we want to leave for future generations. Do we want a nation that is strong, prosperous, and respected on the world stage? Or do we want a nation that is divided, weakened, and in decline? The choice is ours, and the time to act is now. Joe Biden campaigned on a promise of experience and stability. What we got was something far different. From day one, his administration has been plagued by missteps, gaffes, and the sense that the man in charge is simply not up to the task at hand. Whether it's forgetting the names of world leaders, appearing confused in press conferences, or reading teleprompter instructions out loud, Biden's mental acuity has been called into question time and time again. The presidency is a demanding job, requiring immense mental stamina, focus, and the ability to make split-second decisions under pressure. Now, unfortunately, Joe Biden appears to be lacking in all of these areas. When our adversaries see a weak and feeble leader, they are emboldened. From the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan to the ongoing crisis in Ukraine today, our enemies are testing the limits of American resolve, and they are finding those limits wanting. The world is a dangerous place, and it demands a leader who is mentally sharp, strategically astute, and capable of making tough decisions under pressure. In stark contrast to Biden's often confused demeanor, Donald Trump exudes this aura of strength, mental agility. His supporters often describe him as a very stable genius. And while his detractors may scoff, there's no denying that Trump possesses a certain mental sharpness that is both undeniable and effective. He has this knack of cutting through the noise, identifying the core issues at hand, and articulating his positions in a clear and concise manner. And whether you agree with his policies or not, there's no denying that Trump is a master communicator. He understands the power of language, the importance of connecting with his audience, and the need to speak in terms that resonate with everyday Americans. He doesn't talk down to the people or hide behind bureaucratic jargon. He speaks directly to them in a language they understand. And beyond his communication skills, Trump also possesses a keen understanding of human nature. He's a master negotiator, the deal maker who knows how to read people, identify their weakness, and use those weaknesses to his advantage. This skill set served him well in the business world, and it translated surprisingly well to the room of international diplomacy. In the end, Trump's mental acuity is best measured by his accomplishments. While Trump excelled at projecting strength and confidence on the world stage, Biden's tenure has been marked by a series of embarrassing gaps and diplomatic blunders. Again, from the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan to his fumbling response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Biden has projected this image of weakness and indecision that has undermined America's standing in the world. His speeches are often rambling and incoherent. Lacking the clarity and focus that one expects from the leader of the free world, this lack of mental agility has not gone unnoticed by our adversaries, who sense an opportunity to exploit America's perceived weakness. The consequences of his cognitive decline are not merely embarrassing, they are downright dangerous to the future of our nation. Now, when it comes to crime, Donald Trump understands that there are times when you need a hammer and times when you need a scalpel. He knows that criminals are emboldened by weakness and that a strong deterrent is often the best way to keep our streets safe. His law and order message resonates with many Americans who are tired of the rising crime rates and this perceived lack of support for law enforcement. Trump's approach to crime wasn't just about being tough, however. He also recognized the need for criminal justice reform. Signing in the Law the First Step Act, a bipartisan bill aimed at reducing recidivism and providing opportunities for rehabilitation. This nuanced approach, combining strength with compassion, is what sets Trump apart from the defund the police crowd. He understands that the vast majority of law enforcement officers are good people doing a difficult and dangerous job. He knows that they deserve our support, not our scorn. Trump's record on crime speaks for itself. And in stark contrast to the Trump era, the Biden presidency has been marred by a surge in violent crime across the country. From the streets of Chicago to the subways of New York, Americans are feeling less safe, and many are placing the blame squarely at the feet of the current administration. The defund the police movement, embraced by many on the left, created a climate of hostility towards law enforcement, leading to demoralized police departments and this reluctance to engage in proactive policing. And the results have been predictable and devastating. The chaos in our streets is a direct result of the weakness and indecision emanating from the White House. Now, under Donald Trump, America experienced an economic boom the likes of which we hadn't seen in decades. The stock market soared to record highs, unemployment plummeted to historic lows, and wages were finally starting to rise for working class Americans. Now, Trump's policies focused on deregulation, tax cuts, and fair trade deals. It unleashed the power of the American economy, creating jobs and opportunities for millions. He understood the best way to help the middle class was to create an environment where businesses could thrive and create jobs. But then came Joe Biden. With him, the predictable return to the failed economic policies of the past. And the American people were feeling the pain and their right to be angry. One of the most significant achievements of the Trump presidency was achieving American energy independence. For the first time in decades, our nation was no longer beholden to foreign oil producers. Trump understood that energy security is national security, and he made it a priority to unleash the American energy production. The results were undeniable. Lower energy prices for American families, millions of new jobs, and a stronger, more secure nation. Biden, on the other hand, seemed determined to return us to the days of energy independence. Biden's energy policies are not just bad for the economy, they are a threat to our national security. And when it comes to securing our borders versus opening the floodgates, Donald Trump campaigned on a promise to build a wall and secure our southern border. Trump understood that a nation without borders is no nation at all. And he made it clear that he would not tolerate illegal immigration. He increased border security, cracked down on sanctuary cities, and implemented policies designed to discourage illegal crossings. The result was a significant decrease in illegal immigration, as potential border crossers realized that Trump was serious about enforcing our immigration laws. Biden, on the other hand, has overseen a complete and utter disaster at the border. His administration reversed many of Trump's successful policies, sending this message that America's borders are open. Biden's open borders agenda is a gift to the drug cartels, human traffickers, and criminals who seek to exploit our porous borders. And one of the most enduring legacies of any presidency is his impact on the Supreme Court. And Donald Trump had the rare opportunity to appoint 3 justices to the highest court in the land, shifting the balance of the court for a generation. Now, his appointments of Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett have already had a profound impact on the court, leading the rulings that upheld the Second Amendment, protect religious liberty, and rein in the power of the administrative state. Trump's legacy on the Supreme Court will be felt for decades to come. And I have to say, we stand at a crossroads. Now, the paths we choose will determine the fate of our nation for generations. We can continue down the road of decline and decay with Joe Biden, a man clearly out of his depth, mentally unfit for the demands of the presidency and beholden to the radical left. Or we can choose strength, decisiveness, and a proven track record of success with Donald Trump. The choice is yours. So choose wisely.